Canelo Alvarez is focused on possibly fighting Billy Joe Saunders and honing in on that particular fight. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Make sure you guys subscribe to ESPN Plus. Buy the pay-per-view. Conor McGregor. I don't know what you're thinking. He's fighting Donald Cowboy Cerrone. He's looking in shape. Helps the channel when you guys do that. I'm an affiliate. Mike Coppinger, link in the description. He posted this. Canelo Alvarez has zeroed in on Billy Joe Saunders as his May 2nd opponent, and negotiations are expected to pick up during the week toward consummating a deal. Saunders holds a 168-pound title, so a victory would make Canelo a full-fledged 4-division champion, which is some bullshit, and we'll talk about it. And listen, you guys can say whatever you're hating, I don't care. Canelo Alvarez, let's say he fights Billy Joe Saunders and beats him for his title, what do his wins at 168 really mean? You know, Billy Joe Saunders he's a good fighter, but he's not a proven champion at 168 because and this is looking like, look, Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders could be announced next week. So, you know, once again, new media predicted where Canelo would go. Let's look at Billy Joe Saunders. Right? Oh, man, this is becoming far too predictable. Billy Joe Saunders. You know, I'll go with like this. David Lemieux. We'll get to him through Lemieux. Easier name to boom, boom, boom. There's too many Billy Joes. Okay. Billy Joe Saunders. Let's look. So last fight he fought on a YouTube undercard. Marcelo Esteban Corceres, right? This is one of his fights at 168. Who is this guy? And he struggled with him. Then this is the fight where he fought for Zordo Ramirez's old title, because Zordo Ramirez moved to 175. He fought He Fat He Thick Isufi with a record of 27-3-2. That's how Billy Joe Saunders, this guy right here. This is how Billy Joe Saunders became a champion. By fighting a 5'11 super middleweight who's 29 years old, and his record consists of Nicholas Holokafel, Levin Shonan, Mohammed El Ake, Rafael Sosa Pintos, Bad Riri, David Zergara. Man, look, this is his whole resume. And he already lost to Darius Sek. He fought, hardcore rapper Ada Dogan. He had 2 losses to these guys. Tassos Berdesis, Dennis Ronert. Bro, who has Billy Joe Saunders beat at 168? Again, he's a good fighter, but what has he done at 168? Who is this? See, this one. Bro, look at his record. Bro, he has 5 knockouts in 14 fights. And he has 4. This man got 41 losses with 11 knockouts. That's not bad for 41 losses. So he might got somewhat of a chance. But man, who is this Rocky Marciano? Look, this man got Adidas gloves, bro. Who is he? This is who She Fat He Thick been fighting, bro. I don't even want to look like at his resume. It's gonna look like Treyway. See, look at all the red. Treyway, bro. Look. Bro, how do you have this many losses in a row? Listen, respect to everyone that laced him up, but come on, cuz, like, How you have that many in a row? Like, it just look, man, what? So these are the resume names that She Fat, He Thick fought. Man, come on. 15-16 guy. I mean, this is just insane, bro. 5-10-2 guy. So Billy Joe Saunders hasn't really done anything legendary at 168 to become a champion. This is why it's going to continue. This is the fight where he struggled. Corceres, he came to scrap. Gave Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo keeps picking people who, like Kovalev in his last fight. This is all fact. Kovalev fought against an unproven mandatory and Anthony Yard, and Anthony Yard showed us something. He had never, Andre Ward, me, said the same thing. We were saying the same thing. Anthony Yard, he's talked about, he looks the part, but he hasn't fought anyone to, Kovalev was obviously his big test, and he still did very well for himself, and he almost stopped Kovalev. This is when Canelo decides to fight him. Danny Jacobs is a great fighter, but he was in a Golovkin loss, and then the Luis Cuba Arias, where he was trying so hard to knock out Arias because Arias had been trash talking, that it wasn't probably his tidiest work, but he beat Cuba Arias. Then he had tough fights with Maj Suleski and Deryevchenko. Then Canelo wants to fight him. So as long as Canelo keeps doing this, his star power and the respect level of the decisions he's making is going to continue to dwindle. Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Smith, these guys are not coming off of their best wins, and you look at Billy Joe Saunders' record, he's been like that. It's like, when was the David Lemieux fight? Okay, so Billy Joe Saunders, let's look at it. Last year, his last fight on the KSI Logan Paul undercard, part 2, he struggled with Corceres. Then he beat Shifat Asufi. He was supposed to fight Andrade in between here, right? And guess what? He failed a drug test. So the fight got canceled, and he's ducked Andrade ever since. Billy Joe Saunders fought one time in 2018, probably because the failed drug test was right around there, against Charles Adamu with a record of 32-13. This is after he failed a drug test. So the Billy Joe Saunders versus Andrade was supposed to be right in here, but he failed a drug test. Then he fought a fight at 173, one fight because, so he didn't have to kill himself to make weight, against the 32-13 guy. And then his last great performance was in 2017 versus David Lemieux. Then before that, he did good with Willie Monroe. He had his son kicking Willie Monroe in the dick and all this shit. And he didn't look good here in 2006. His one fight in 2016 with Wolverine, and Demetrius Andrade fought him and beat him. I think stopped him too. Yeah. And then he looked good in 2015. So as you see, Billy Joe Saunders he's a good fighter, but he's exceptionally spotty and inconsistent. Like Chris Eubank Jr., that was in 2014. He looked good there. And this is what he does. He'll fight a good name and then he'll regress, disappear, spotty behavior, failed drug tests, bad performance, stuff like that, inactivity. So let's look at it. He fought Chris Eubank Jr. in 2014. He got respect, won a split decision. That was a good opponent. Cool. Then his next fight in 2015 was Johan Bloyer. 17-27. This is the guy's record. 17-27 and 2. Then he had Andy Lee. That's a respectable name. He beat him. That was a good win. Then he fought Wolverine and didn't look good in that fight. Then he fought Willie Monroe, looked cool. Then he fought David Lemieux and looked sensational, superb. Meanwhile, after he beat David Lemieux, Eric Gomez, president of Golden Boy, says David Lemieux, fought a runner and Billy Joe Saunders has an unattractive style and this, that, and the third. Then he fought this guy after he failed a drug test, 32-13, not a good record, domestic level guy at a weird weight, Charles Adamu. Then he fought for a title. He didn't fight Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez for the WBO. He waited till Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez moved to 175, and then he fought for a vacant title, as you guys see. And then he struggled right here in his American debut with Marcelo Esteban Corceres. So I don't care what anyone says. Canelo is a vulture. He is waiting for people to have suspect performances, inactivity, like James Kirkland had inactivity, Noan Wolf. Billy Joe Saunders has had spotty performances, coming off a bad performance, inactivity, and then he picks them when they're right. Danny Jacobs was probably the only guy, and you can't even say Jacobs. You could say Jacobs is a good fighter, but he was coming off the tough ass fight with Deryevchenko, who I think later beat Golovkin. So, you know, it's bad news. I really like Canelo too, and that's the crazy thing about it. I really like Canelo, but aside from Golovkin, you could say, but Golovkin, you know, even him, that comes with the asterisk, because in my opinion, Golovkin really didn't fight nobody for most of his career. And I've always said that his best name before Canelo was Danny Jacobs. And I thought he lost that fight. So, and Canelo, once again, waited till Golovkin was getting hurt and hit with uppercuts, by Kell Brook, and then looked kind of suspect in that fight. And then I thought Jacobs really beat him. Then he fights him. Kovalev, he almost got stopped by Anthony Yard. Dre Ward beat him twice in a row and stopped him. Alida Alvarez then stopped him. Now he wants to talk about Kovalev. When Kovalev was fighting Jean Pascal, you never heard Canelo even mention his name. So with this type of pattern, you know, Chavez Jr., he has discipline issue. I mean, you know what that is. Like I said, this hurts Canelo. This is why Mexican legends, along with others in new media, have to question these opponent selections, because Canelo in recent memory has fought in 3 different divisions, and there are great names in those divisions, a great talent pool that have looked good in recent fights, and especially their last fight, like even Jermall Charlo. That's a good fight. You could put that in Texas. Jermall Charlo just destroyed Dennis Hogan, who Jaime Munguia, a Golden Boy fighter, struggled with, and coincidentally never rematched. Dennis Hogan petitioned to have an immediate rematch, and the WBO denied it. So the Canelo game, I hate to break it to old media, it's like the strategy. This is everything they said they hated in Floyd Mayweather, Canelo's literally doing. And the worst part about it is, like I said, I actually like the way Canelo fights. I like his skill set, and I don't think he even needs to do this stuff. But he's the last remaining big pillar with Golden Boy. So someone on his team, his coach, Golden Boy, whoever you want to blame, they keep putting Canelo in these fights. And the fans keep making it sound like this is, oh, what does Canelo got to do to get some credit? Fight somebody that looks like a live dog with some good attributes to match yours. And if you beat them, you beat them without all these stipulations and weight clauses and rehydration clauses, and you'll get the credit. You know, it's not rocket science. Errol Spence beat Mikey Garcia undefeated, gets credit. Errol Spence beat Sean Porter, a guy with who has a guy with a resume better than his. He got credit for that. That's all you have to do. If Canelo fights and looks good against guys with momentum, then he'll get the credit. But the thing is, he's not showing so much separation in the Golovkin fights or in his fights with Jacobs and stuff like that. And the other guys, he's handpicking like Kirkland, guys that are British fighters that have been spotty, haven't really had no big wins. He moved Jose Cito Lopez up off the Victor Ortiz performance, so he was undersized. You know, just this is the same thing. Shane Mosley, when 154 wasn't his best division anyway, and he's way bigger than him. It's just it's the same MO, and I think the Zone is going to continue to struggle because their biggest stars ain't putting up big fights. Billy Joe Saunders, stylistically, he can give Canelo some problems. But my thing is, if you're looking for blockbuster fights, how come it's so coincidental? Nobody that Canelo's fighting, would you give them a 10 out of 10 on their last performance? But there are other guys in boxing where you would give them a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. Like David Benavidez. He looked good versus Anthony Durrell. He was getting outboxed. but then he looked good. You know, he didn't get dropped or anything like that. Kovalev was nearly knocked out. Billy Joe Saunders was losing until he was able to stop an inexperienced guy who's unknown. So it's up to Canelo and his team. They can focus on Billy Joe Saunders, but I think his numbers are going to continue to dwindle because the world sees it. The world sees it for what it is. David Fetelson of ESPN Deportes, Julio Cesar Chavez, Eric Morales, Juan Manuel Marquez, Nacho Beristain. You know, I can go through, and this is what boxing is getting to. I can go through Juan Manuel Marquez and look at his resume, and he was fighting top-notch Timothy Bradley, Pacquiao 4 times. Like, he's fighting real-life hitters often, and now they're trying to manipulate the game in boxing. So it's like different and watered down. Look, Mexican legend. Let's look at his resume. Mike Alvarado. He was 40 and he's fighting Mike Alvarado. Tim Bradley. Pacquiao. He fought Serhii Fedonchenko 30-1. Not a bad record, but not a big name. Manny Pacquiao. Liker Ramos 24-3. Michael Katsidis, great puncher, you know. Juan Diaz, Baby Bull. Floyd Mayweather. Juan Diaz. Joel Casamayor, Manny Pacquiao, Rocky Juarez, Marco Antonio Barrera. Bro, look at that. Chris John of Thailand. Bro, these were all Orlando Salido, Pacquiao. Look at his resume. You know, we can go through all the top Mexican legends, and they earned it out the mud. Chavez, win, lose, or draw. I'm just talking about what they accomplished. Eric Morales, just look at it. He fought a youthful Danny Garcia, lost Danny Garcia. So 2 Danny Garcia, someone who's still relevant now, years later. This was in 2012. He fought him twice in 2012. Danny Garcia in 2020 is still relevant, like 8 years later, but he still fought him. Pablo Cesar Cano, he just knocked out Jorge Linares. He's still relevant. He just knocked him out. Marcos Maidana, he gave Floyd issue. He beat Broner. Look, Francisco Lorenzo, Willie Lyman, he hurt Amir Khan, and then Morales knocked him out. This guy, look it up, he hurt Amir Khan. David Diaz, Jose Alfo, 23-5. Pacquiao, Zahir Rahim, Pacquiao, Marco Antonio Barrera, Jesus Chavez. Look at who they're fighting. Eddie Croft, who's a trainer. Marco Antonio Barrera. Bro, Barrera. Beast. And then you look at Canelo, is like he's not showing ultimate separation. There's a bunch of weight stipulations and strategies and guys coming off bad performances. And just look at, let's say, the UFC. Nate Diaz fought Jorge Masvidal. They were coming off beast performances. Nate Diaz tore up Holloway. Masvidal that was his best year, was last year. He knocked out Ben Askren with 5 seconds on the clock with a flying knee, and then he knocked out Darren Till violently and got in a fight backstage after the Till knockout. That's what Masvidal. So the UFC's not doing this either. That's why people want to see. They want to see some of these fights because guys aren't all coming off of bad performances and, you know, stuff like that. And I thought the Canelo Kovalev fight, he didn't look as accurate. That's why he's not staying up there. And then you got stuff like this where Canelo's team says that Better Biev ain't as good. Look, this is not me. This is Canelo's trainer, Eddie Reynoso. Canelo is ready for Better Biev. Kovalev is better. So you're saying that, and you beat Kovalev. So if you're able to knock out Kovalev, and you really feel this way, then why didn't you keep the belt and then fight Better Biev? He says, whomever as well, we're ready, said Reynoso when asked if Canelo would be interested in fighting Better Biev. Quote, this is a direct quote, Kovalev is better than Better Biev. Even though Better Biev beat Kovalev twice in the amateurs, Eddie Reynoso is saying that Better Biev ain't as good as Kovalev at this current point in time. So if you knocked out Kovalev, this is cap. If you knocked out Kovalev and you got past that, why not stay at 175 and fight Better Biev, who you believe ain't as good as the guy you just knocked out? Because it's cap. That's why. You know what I'm saying? You think Better Biev, like, just Better Biev's power alone makes him a threat, and the world knows that. Billy Joe Saunders don't hit like Better Biev, and Better Biev's at a higher weight class. So again, Canelo could do whatever he want, but if his team and DAZN, they keep picking fights like this, and then Triple G's gonna fight Says Meta, I don't see how you really win in America with these fights, you know? And then you're gonna try to, if Triple G beats Says Meta and Canelo beats Billy Joe Saunders, that's supposed to make the Triple G Canelo 3 huge. I don't see it. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.